My name is Anthony Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of Reparations. We established this back in 2020, right before the pandemic. Reparations is an reparations program geared towards the people. It's a membership program. We try to crowdfund to put our resources together so that we're able to build institutions for the Black community, for our people. This isn't nothing new. Everything I'm talking about has been reiterated over the last few decades. But our program is different because we're trying to actually implement the blueprint of Black agendas and everything else. We try to do our best as much as we can, and we just try to get as many people to follow us. My primary goal for Reparations is to build our 1 million people program. It's a yearly fee, $10 a year. We take all the money and we put it back into the community. This gives people a chance to contribute when they don't know where to turn to or where to go. A lot of people are like-minded individuals like myself, and they want to help, but they don't know where to go. So our programs and our ideas are really focused on targeting those people so that they can, they don't feel left out. Dr. Umar is the best candidate for this event because he really pushes Black agendas. He really has the knowledge and the education to be able to back everything that he says. There's nobody out there that I really know that can really debate him, on one-on-one, professionally. I just think he's the best man for the job because he really has a lot of good insight, and he's unapologetically Black. Of my organization, if we could build up 1 million members at $10 a year, the money don't go to me. I got a good job, I'm cool, I got money in the bank. The money is to be able to build an economic system for America. You know what I'm saying? We do a lot of stuff abroad, but we need to still focus in our Black communities because that's where the issues are, with the education system. There's no banks, there's no hospitals in our communities, so we got to be able to do that, and we got to be able to build that ourselves. And with this program, we could be able to do it if we all stick together. It ain't hard. Like I said, the first 4 rows, they're looking kind of empty, but we got more members. We've been doing this for like the last few years, and it's been going okay. I donate a lot of my money, towards the organization and to Africa, and a lot of people donate too, to our cause because they just need to know who to trust and where to put the money to because a lot of people don't know. I was on the internet and they got like these ads talking about Gaza, and this, and I don't know. I don't know if I can believe, to send money to Gaza because, who are putting these together? Is it the same system that put Gaza in trouble? We're having problems with the police. There's a Black shooting out here. A police officer shot one of us. He called the cops, and the police ended up shooting him. Tragic story. His name is Brandon Durham. I hope his family is okay. I know there's a few organizations out here that deal with those situations, that go, to the family and talk to them and console them and just try to work the issues out, especially through the legal system, just so that they can have a voice. Because the police aren't going to give you any kind of free pro bono lawyers to, to help their family. They're just going to kick them to the curb. This very day, November 22nd, 2014, there was a boy in a park playing with his little gun, and somebody called the police on him, and the police officer didn't waste no time shooting him. His name is Tameka Rice. His mom, Samira Rice, she's been putting it down for the last 10 years. She built a whole foundation for him, and she continues to still do it. So, police violence, Black on Black crime, stuff like that, we got to be able to work these problems out ourselves, and we try our best. The Nation Islam is here. I give it up to them. I've done plenty of community walks with them, and they go through deep. They go through deep. So anytime you guys want to do anything in the community, if you're scared or you don't know who to go to, the Nation Islam is probably the best way to go because they really look out for the people in the community. Let me see here. What else I got? Kendrick Johnson. Has anybody heard of Kendrick Johnson? He didn't roll himself up in a mat. I'm just going to leave it like that.
I don't know his family or anything, but I have been following him for a long time, and that's another tragic story. Let me see here. Like I said before, if I can get everybody in this audience to sign up, and become a member, I appreciate it. Like I said, it's only $10 a year, and all the funds go to community projects, go to Africa. A lot of people in this audience know me. I know pretty much almost everybody in here, regardless if I've talked to them on the phone to sell them tickets or work with them, at the job site. I know everybody, so everybody knows me. So I got a reputation, and I don't want to mess it up, So you can kind of put your trust in me because I know a lot of community members too. Tameka Henry, a lot of people, we all work together and we try to do our best to do what we can. Let's see what else I got. I got that all already. All the websites. www.selfreparations.org. If I didn't say it yet, I'm saying it now. Go on my website, check us out. We're on Facebook, YouTube. You can get in touch with me or anybody that's phone numbers is on there. And if you really want to do something in the community, it ain't hard to do it. You just gotta get your ass up out of bed and pick up that phone and give us a call. Whether if it's the nation, whether if it's me, or if it's your local Black Panther Party. We're all doing the same thing. We're going in different directions, but I guarantee you, we're all going to the same place. Self-Reparations, like I said, is a Pan-Africanist organization. We believe in our African brothers and sisters out there. That's one thing we really hone in on. Marcus Garvey created the RBG flag. Does anybody know what the RBG flag is? Okay. We need everybody in here to teach their kids what the RBG flag is, what it stands for, and who created it. Marcus Garvey started the organization UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, to empower the black folks because back then it was unheard of. And Marcus Garvey had the biggest black movement on this earth. He had millions of members, and they didn't have internet. Yeah. I'm coming to a close, but I just want to give it up to a few of my predecessors that I really follow, and I hope you guys, follow them too. Amos Wilson, anybody heard of him? Man, ever since I heard his videos and started reading his books, The Black Blueprint, Black on Black Crime, The Psychological of the Black Child, all that, he hits hard. And if you like long lectures on YouTube and you just want to listen for hours, that's the man to go to right there. Yeah. John Henry Clark, he's real good when it comes to black economics. Read his books, listen to his lectures, and if you don't like to read, man, just hop on YouTube, and put your earbuds in and just, just zone out, do your thing. Dr. Frances Cress Wesling. She was on Donahue one time, and she had the whole crowd stunned. She was a bad black woman. I had to give it up to her. And we got to give it up to the person who's relevant today, Dr. Umar Johnson. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him because he gives me that energy and the capacity to want to learn more and do more for our community. Other than that, out of Africa theory, that's something that you guys should know about more, where Ground Zero started in Africa and Ethiopia. We all migrated out, and we inhabited every single continent on this planet. I appreciate it. I'm doing my best. There's a lot of people that's blind, and there's a lot of people that don't want to know anything about the black struggle or what's going on in our organization or in our communities, They want to be consumers, and they want to assimilate to European culture. We got to stay away from that. We got to be able to embrace our blackness and be proud of who we are. So when you get a chance, at the end of the night, before you leave, please sign my petition on the desk out there. I'll be out there waiting for you guys. And we can do this every year if you want. I ain't rich, but shoot, we put this together. Your ticket sales, my family and organizations in Las Vegas, we did this. I didn't do this by myself. I'm proud to say that. I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to give a shout out to my mom, to my sister April Johnson, to my son Achilles, to my brother Makio Shakur from the New Black Panther from the New Panther Vanguard movement. I want to give another shout out to Malik Shabazz, Babu, Shumanda, and the entire New Black Panther Party. They pretty much, got me into the point to where I can be more confident, and speaking and getting in the community and not being afraid of my own people, because that's one damn thing we shouldn't be. So I'm gonna end it on that. I appreciate you guys for coming. Black Power.
Yeah, go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all power to the people. All power to the people. I got the next speaker, which is the divine femininity that's coming up right now. This is what we need. This is what we need. That nurture, that, you know? So with that being said, she's a wife, she's a mother, she's executive in the school. She done stepped in the school board. You know, she's really doing her thing, y'all. So I want y'all to make some noise for the one and only Tameka Henry. Let's go, let's go. Yeah, come on, girl.
It feels so good to be amongst my people. Even though I can't see y'all, I can feel y'all energy. So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Tameka Henry. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the trustee-elect for the Clark County School District, School Board of Trustees for District C. We're right here in the heart of District C. And like he said, I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a communitarian. I may not have a lot of dollars, but I always have time for my community. I love y'all. And give it up for Anthony Johnson again. I appreciate that brother for this opportunity to be here to speak with you all. He talked a lot about community and collaborating. It is so important. So important. Thank you so much. I'm also the executive director of the nonprofit, the Abodo Collective. We have an urban farm in the historic West Side. Our mission, please. Abodo literally means community in Igbo. It means community. We can't do any of the work that we do without you all. We run an urban farm in the historic West Side. We also provide long-term supports and solutions for families because we want to break multi-generational poverty in our communities. So we do that by making sure that our families have access to food. They know how to grow their own food. They can come to our garden and take those gardening classes. We connect them to resources. We also do courtroom observations in eviction court to keep families housed. We share resources for rental assistance. If need be, we become a payer of last resort. I know many of you may have donated to us when I get on Facebook begging for our families. And it's not about giving them a hand out, it's a hand up. Many of the families that we are working with, they are experiencing hardships. They're experiencing medical emergencies, the loss of jobs. And so we just want to make sure that we're able to stand in the gap. It's so many things that I want to talk to y'all about, but community and collaboration is so important so we can continue to uplift our community. We can't continue to wait for somebody to come and save us. And we can't, and especially when it comes to education. It's one of the reasons why I ran for school board, because I know we needed representation from our community, from somebody who looked like us, but also from a different socioeconomic background, because I want to make those decisions on behalf of families who look like mine and represent my family. I must say, if it wasn't for the Head Start program, I don't know where my family would be. I entered the Head Start program very broken. I lost my first son to SIDS, and I experienced extreme depression. I was a young mother, and my first son, Trayvon, simply didn't wake up. And I could have stayed in a state of stuck. And I could have continued to grieve forever. It still hurts. But when I found a Head Start program, when I had my other children, it was about educating my children, but they also wanted to know about me. What about you, Mom? What about your family? What are your goals? What is it that you want to do? And so, when I first, and I'm going to be honest, when I first dropped my child off to the program, I wanted to go back home. I finally had someone to babysit my children, and I was going to go back home and grieve and wallow and watch Young and the Restless. That was my plans, just being honest. But they the program engaged me in a way where they asked, what is it that you want to do? We got your children. We got your child. Come and volunteer in the classroom. All right, I can do that. We got your child. We have a parent committee that you can serve on. You can help us make decisions about the budget, about the curriculum, about the foods that your child is eating in our classrooms. And so they engaged me in a meaningful way. They built a relationship with me as a parent. They empowered me to be my child's first teacher. They supported us with resources when we needed. My husband has a disability. And at the time, I didn't know that, we could apply for disability. And it was just so many resources that we had access to, but it was up to me to make those follow-up phone calls, and I'm glad that I did. And so today I stand before you as a trustee-elect for the school board. The same program that I was a parent in nearly, I know I look like I'm 25. It's about, since 2008, I have been volunteering with the Oscillero Learning Head Start program, and I'm now the chairperson of the board of directors for that program. And my two daughters that were in the program, my youngest is getting ready to graduate high school, and my oldest daughter is getting ready to graduate from Nevada State University with her bachelor's degree in May. So I came to that program not knowing that college was, even an opportunity. It was even an opportunity for my children, given our socioeconomic status. But now, college became an expectation. And I can't forget about my son. My son is now a pre-K teacher with the Head Start program as well. And so I say all that to say, when we meet families where they are, but also meet them where they dream, we don't know where they can go. And it really starts by asking that question, what it is you want to do. Do you have any goals for yourself? And I'm just thankful to be in the position that I am today. I also wanted to talk about the school board just a little bit. Just a little bit. Clark County School District is the 5th largest school district in the nation. There's nearly 300,000 students that myself and other trustees will be making decisions on behalf of. And I know that the school district alone can't educate our children in the way that they need to be educated. So for me, I really want to build stronger community partnerships. We have great organizations in our community like Reparations, like Master and Mindsets, like the Tulips organization, like the King of Jewels. I don't want to forget anybody, there's so many more, like the Mass Liberation Project. And all of us have our own unique thing that we can bring to our schools, gentlemen by choice. Can bring things to our schools, but they're often met with a little resistance, or the MOU process is so hard for us to get through. And that's some things that I want to make sure that I make that process equitable, so we can become partners when it comes to the education of our children. We also need to collaborate more with local businesses, so we can provide those much needed wraparound services that families have. Again, the school district can't do this alone. My hopes are to position our schools as engines of opportunity for not only students, but for their entire families. We need to do that. And I really want to use this as a call to action for my people. We won the school board race. It wasn't just about me, it's about us. And I'm no expert in everything, but I'm willing to learn. And I'm willing to learn and work with you all to hear what those concerns are that you have. And I like to hear concerns, but I more so want to know how we can find those solutions to move our district forward. And so when I do host roundtables, because I want to do that, when I do reach out to you, please take my call. I need to hear from y'all so I can make informed decisions on behalf of our community. Some other things that I would love to see, I want us as a district to continue to leverage technology for family engagement. I want us to have more programs around literacy and STEM that's geared for not only our students, but for our families. I want to make sure that our district and our schools have flexibility in the times that they host meetings and workshops. Oftentimes I hear from families that they can't get there because they're working. So I want to make sure that that I'm bringing that message to the school board and the schools in our area. Give me one more second. I know I'm going to wrap this up, and thank y'all for allowing me to be vulnerable. I just jotted down some notes. So wanted to make sure that we integrate family and child supports. So early learning is best, so you can have those early interventions if children need them. We got to give them access to high quality education early, so like Head Start and quality preschool programs within our schools. I know that we have family resource centers. I think that we need to have more of them within our community where families can access them, so they can have those hubs where families can access resources around literacy, different programs and health services, also financial coaching. Again, continuing to build strong partnerships and collaborations with local nonprofit organizations and small businesses. We want to address barriers to participation for our families. So again, making sure we have those flexible schedules, and even when you do have things going on at our schools, making sure that there is childcare available, and also feed the people. I'm just saying, feed the people. Like, if you're gonna engage and build relationships, it's important to break bread with one another. And just making sure to have transparency. That's something that I heard along the campaign trail, that people just want to the school district and school board to be accountable and have more transparency. And so that's something that you have my word that I'll make sure that I do my best to bring you any information that I have. But I need y'all to show up to school board meetings too. This school district, seriously, please and thank you. Our school district has been trending 48th and 49th in the nation for nearly a decade. It didn't get like this overnight. I know I got a long task and job ahead of me, and I'm not afraid to take this head on. But I am going to need your support. And we can do this. Together we will. We will increase and improve education for our students in the Clark County School District. So before I get out of here, I want to make sure that we have those opportunities for learning throughout our community. And I know I can't even see. How many of you have a library card? Please and thank you. And make sure your children have library cards. I serve on the library board as well for North Las Vegas. The library is one of the most underutilized resources within our communities. So please take advantage of our libraries. Also with the Obodo Collective and with Self-Reparations, Giving Tuesday is coming up. I know that we are both small nonprofit organizations. We need your support. Every dollar counts in that program. The dollars come right back into our community. Like even with us at the Obodo Collective, we work closely with Self-Reparations and Anthony Johnson. Whenever I need anything, he's there. When we needed a sink built outside so we could wash our produce when we harvest it, he built it, he was there. But I also want to make sure that I compensate our people when I can. And so every dollar that we get, it goes right back into our communities. So when you do see an ask on social media or via email, like right now we have a real opportunity for Giving Tuesday, which is December 3rd. I have secured a $25,000 matching donation for every dollar that we receive. So I'm asking you all to please help me raise at least $25,000 for our organizations, and that money goes right back into our community. So please follow us on social media. That's Obodo, that's OBODO Collective. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. You can find us on our website. You can donate there. And again, that money will go to help both of our organizations. And there was something else. Let me just simply end by saying, I love y'all. And thank you.
Hey, man, all power to the people. One more time. All power to the people. All right. So with her speaking out, hope y'all understand about family and community, like for real. A lot of stuff going on, we lost and we losing the real essence of having a family. Be able to call your brother, be able to call your sister, your mother at night. You know what I mean? So I don't know what any of y'all going through, but I just want to let you know, if you ain't called your mama, if you ain't called your uncle, your auntie, your cousin, call them. All right? Call them. Yeah, I know. Look at y'all. All right. So we're going to get to the next person, y'all. He go by the name of Kazy Fanya. Let's get it.
I'll let y'all know I'm too nervous to stand still. I can't do it. Before I start, I just want to make sure it's grown folks up in here, right? And what I mean by grown folks is I'm going to come hard. And just because I'm talking to you doesn't mean I'm talking about you. We understand that community, family, grown folks. Can we have a conversation? I wrote this just with how I felt presently. You ever try to do so much and want so much for someone more than they want for themselves? Power is the ability to get things done despite resistance and opposition. Economics is the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and wealth. Powernomics then is the ability for blacks to pull resources and power to produce, distribute, and consume in a way that creates goods. Claude Anderson. How many in here love their grandmother? Granny, grand, the matriarch of the family. If my grandfather raped and molested and tortured, experimented and beat your grandmother, could we still be friends? Would you join my political party because we share some of the same beliefs? Can you forgive and forget because that was so long ago? Will you buy mine over yours because my ice cubes are colder? Okay. Who in here loves their children? Your sons, your daughters. Let's say me, 100 or so years ago, hung your son by his neck from a tree, then burnt his body because he looked at my daughter. Let's say I raped and molested your daughter and experimented on her vagina for medical purposes, and I did not use anesthesia because I felt black women could not feel pain such as the white woman. Could you forgive me? Pray for me? Remember, what would Jesus do? Can I pay you to speak out against your people in public, to vote to incarcerate astronomical portions of your men, leaving our government to be your husband, choosing welfare, food stamps, and public housing over an inheritance or tangibles to pass down? No? Why? Is it because I'm black? My name is James Hoover. A lot of my friends call me Kazi. Tonight I'm going to regurgitate a lot of information and answers provided by our folks, some living, some not with us. I use the word regurgitate, not because I haven't analyzed or failed to completely comprehend what was meant by these words, but in hopes that when I speak, this shit reeks and attaches to you. Parents, is there a difference in being a good parent and being a good black parent here in North America? Do you intentionally raise your black child to work towards the benefit, the progress, the liberation, the power of our people? Or are you raising them to, do for self, to survive, do good in school, stay out of trouble, get a good job, the bare effing minimum? We are ranked amongst the worst in every educational category in this country. So the bar is not that high. I am 5 years free from serving 8 years in prison. I have been working since 7 days of my release and have not re-entered the system. So the bar is not that high. Are we raising men or are we raising grown boys? Are we raising soldiers or are we raising gang members? Are we raising leaders or are we raising scared to death Negroes? Ladies, are you so thirsty for love and affection that you could date, fall in love, have a baby, and ultimately separate from a black man who could care less, will do damage, and who is a cancer to the black community? Let me ask you this. What's the standards? We're all on the internet. I know everybody's on the internet. What's the standards? Got to have some money. They not really doing the 9 to 5s. You got to hustle. You got to have some extracurriculars going. Don't take them to the Cheesecake Factory. Own a business, own a car, half, half hood, half holy. What they say, if he can't buy you Dior, then he's Pior. Sisters, how much pressure do you put on these brothers? To be a black man, to do something for his people, to do something for his community. Or, you ain't tripping, as long as you got somebody to lay up with. Barack Obama's grandfather, he said, the black man will never beat the white man because the black man only wants to work for his family or his clan, while the white man works to increase his power. The white man alone can be crushed easily. He is like an ant. But like an ant, the white man works together. His nation, his business, these things he values more than himself. The black man is not like this. Even the most foolish of black men thinks he knows more than the wise man. To publicly say, as a black man with his chest out, I don't date black women, has to be one that still reigns as one of the filthiest statements I've ever heard in my life. These boys who continue to make babies and not handle their business as fathers, these estrogen-injected cowards who continue to insist on begging, marching, and asking for permission, instead of planning, strategically operating, fighting, executing. You have no discipline. You have no structure. You're unorganized. You're uninvolved. You're distracted. You're selfish. A lack of correct cultural, parental history lessons. Having a lack of care, a lack of effort, a lack of code. Having the audacity to call yourself a man, but one who is not willing to work, to contribute, to provide, to protect, to police, and not just one. Are we raising men, or are we raising grown boys? Are we raising soldiers, or are we raising gang members? Are we raising leaders, or are we raising scared to death Negroes? We have to have trust in one another. We cannot have a black community if we don't have trust. Once you're in a community, you get to know people. Then you start to trust them. Once you start to trust them, you start to cooperate with them. Once you start to cooperate with them, you start holding them accountable. Dr. Claude Anderson. No magic is going to happen. If for over 260 plus years of chattel slavery and this place didn't burn like Sodom and Gomorrah, ain't no sky daddy coming to save us. We have the answers. We just need the actions and participation. Let's build these schools. Let's build these clinics and these hospitals and properly diagnose our people, having the most valuable person in the community, the black woman, running it. Let's raffle $20,000 to $50,000 per month, creating a new black homeowner every month. Let's create the paradigm to give to other black states, counties, and communities once we accomplish the mission. The plan creates a $1 million per month budget to repair and recreate the black community. Not a bill, a budget. Remember, the Japanese were given reparations by the U.S. government. The Mexicans were giving reparations by the U.S. government. The natives were given reparations by the U.S. government. White slave owners were given reparations by the U.S. government. We still begging for ours? Or can we do for self? There's a plan. I know a plan. If you have a plan, can we vote as a black community? Martin Luther King realized 3 months before he died, I led my people into a burning building. So many of us are not willing to sacrifice what it takes to put that fire out, content with the mental and social illusion that places me over a we. Can we please? Mimi ni kwasaba sisi ni ubuntu. Thank you.
Y'all getting warmed up? Okay. Hey, shout out to China. Shout out to Candle for holding it down for us to do this, because without them, this would not be possible. And I do want to make an announcement as a vendor and my cousin out there that she does the soaps. I mean, I see her in the kitchen sweating, making them soaps. So I want y'all to just stop by there on your way out, check her out. She got the soaps, she got the butters and all that, and she really put that love in it. So, and also stop by Anthony Johnson's table and his lovely wife. They got the soaps, the deodorant, they got everything, you know, at a good price. So at the end of the day, all power to the people. All power to the people. You know what? Say that again. Say that again. Black power. Black power. I like that. I like that. I love the blackness. Are y'all ashamed to be black? I just want to hear somebody say they're ashamed. All right. Okay. All right. All right. We don't play that around here. At the end of the day, these things are necessary for us to come together and remind us, because that white man works overtime. He works overtime. All right? So we got to work even more. We got to come together a little bit more at the end of the day. Good job, Kazi. All right, well, we got the one and only from the NOI, Nation of Islam. Next speaker, he don't need no introduction. After him is Dr. Umar. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Dwayne X. Let's get it. Yeah. All right, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. In the most holy name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness to the oneness of God. Regardless to what name you may call him, regardless to what language you may speak, regardless to the creed, there is but one God. So the name Jehovah, Jah, is a good name. The name Yah is a good name. The name God is a good name. The name Ra and Kula Kunlu is a good name. We call him under the Arabic name Allah because it encompasses all of the wonderful attributes of God. We thank him for many of our people that have come down the line of the vine. We thank Allah so much for Toussaint Overture. We thank Allah so much for Dessalines. We thank Allah so much for Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We thank Allah so much for Brother Malcolm X. We thank Allah so much for Nat Turner, Dr. Martin Luther King. And we thank Allah for all of the prophets, whether we know of them or not, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon all of these worthy servants of Allah. I am a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And as a student, I can't thank Allah enough for his wonderful intervention in the affairs of the black man and woman. And I know we don't think enough of ourselves to think that God intervened in our affairs. I want to talk to y'all about God today. Y'all okay with that? Yes, sir. Because I ain't so proud. Yes, to talk about the author of my life. And I'm not so proud to talk about the author of blackness, God, the originator of the heavens and the earth. And I thank him for raising up. We all want to hear from the King Kong of black consciousness, our brother Dr. Umar. And I thank Allah so much because he raised up the father of black consciousness, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who lives, whether we all want to admit to it or not, have been touched by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I know what the media would like to make you think of him. And I know what the television shows like to make you think of him. But if a man with a third grade education can raise up and make a man like Malcolm X, don't believe that movie that Malcolm X was made by a book, by a dictionary. Someone sparked in him the idea of wanting to learn about himself. Other organizations did not want to deal with that quote-unquote felon who did 7 years, 7 months, and 7 days. But the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, with a third grade education, turned a man named Malcolm Little and made him Malcolm Big. I thank Allah so much for him, and I thank Allah in so much for his helper, a man who is the wind beneath my wings, a man who has taught me how to love the black man and woman more than we hate ourselves. The man that taught me that you must be willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice for the redemption and the salvation for our people. That man who I speak of is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And yeah, you see the smile on my face when I mention his name. And once again, it's in their holy and righteous name. I greet all of us with the greeting words of peace. Once again, we say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. Before I get started, I would like to request permission from the elders. To the elders, do I have permission to speak? Yes, sir. Thank you. Because it is in our culture that we must require permission and have some respect for our elders. Because even though the elders are for wisdom, we need wisdom so that we can go out and we can make war with our enemy. I want to not be long, but I kind of want to be strong a little bit because I want to hear from Dr. Umar. And I was reflecting as I was on my way over here. And the reality is that the survival of the black nation is at stake right now. When you take a look at the word survival, it means that a thing that an organism must do to continue its existence that is called survival. And most of us, if we come through this sojourn here in North America, we know all about survival, but none of us really know too much about living. But we know how to survive. Every last one of us here, you are a witness to knowing how to survive. I'm going to show you in just a second. I'm going to show you right now. This is an example Minister Farrakhan gave us. One day, our mother and our father decided they was going to have a little bit of private time. And in that moment of having some private time, millions of sperm was emitted. And it was emitted into a hostile environment. There are acids, there are biomes, they are immune systems that are inherent inside of the womb of the woman. And it eats away. And so many of your brothers and your sisters that was called sperm at that time did not survive. And then it had to reach a destination, but in that destination, only one could make it, and the rest will become food for the one that made it. You were the one that made it. and you rotated in the womb of your mother, and you came to birth. And then coming to birth at a certain point, your mother knew that she had to let you go, and you knew that in order to survive, you had to let her go. I'm going somewhere with this. And now you're here. We survived 400 years of the worst treatment that our former slave master can ever give us. And now we're here. And now we're wondering, how can we survive the next 4 years? I know that many of us are upset with the last election. Oh, my God. We was hoping that our sister can become the first female president, the first black president. I know there's a debate on that. But that's not material right now. So how do we survive? How many of you believe in God? By show of hands. And by way of applause, so I can hear you. There we go. All right, wonderful, good. Now, belief in God is good, but the word belief presupposes that we have not yet come to know. But we believe. And that's the first start. The scripture says it like this: my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So what knowledge are we lacking then? Because as a people, we are being destroyed. Now to the point where the black man is now styled as an endangered species. I'm not going to leave y'all with just some bad news. I got some good news coming to y'all from the Honorable Ms. Louis Farrakhan, and you're going to hear from my brother, Dr. Umar. So when you have what is called an endangered species, then the next natural step from that is extinction. How are we going extinct? At the hands of our open enemy, yes. And at the hands of our own ignorance and our misplaced fear in our open enemy makes us now part of a conspiracy against us that is now being played out right before our eyes. What conspiracy? And what does it got to do with the election? In the Bible, Pharaoh says it like this: come, let us deal wisely with them, the children of Israel, lest they multiply and join on to an enemy army. And so Pharaoh devised a plan to kill the male and spare the female. There's a plan right now after you did, brother, where you're being attacked on every single level. Physically, psychologically, mentally, emotionally. Our very testosterone is being broken down. Men ain't being men too much anymore. I hope I ain't hurt nobody's feelings. But our sisters are tired of us sitting in the passenger seat while they pumping the gas. Our testosterone is going down. And they tired of us really looking like Jody from Baby Boy. Yeah, my sister say, yeah. We need a Ving Rhames to come along with us, kind of smack us around a little bit. We gonna call your mama Jody? We need a Ving Rhames around here nowadays because we forgot what masculinity looked like, but it's all by design. Come, let us deal wisely with them, Pharaoh said. And so there was a plot to kill all the males, spare the females. In the time of Jesus, Herod had the same plan because there was someone that he knew that was come from the black people, the children of Israel, who will redeem us and put us back in our rightful place. So now here we are in 2024. What are we going to do? The orange man is in office. Project 2025 is in full effect. Oh my God. We about to go all the way back to the plantation. Hold on. You know, because I heard someone say we're not our ancestors. That's okay. No, we're not, but we're not going to dishonor our ancestors by having that sentiment. Because our ancestors paid a heavy price for us to be here. So we will never dishonor them by saying that. They paid the price. They paid the price of blood and lynchings and fire and hangings for us to sit here on a microphone with Dr. Umar about to come behind us. They paid that price. We stand on their shoulders. We got to have more respect for the ancestors. Because we all come from an infinity of time. And we're here for just a brief moment, and then we go back into an infinity of time. But what are we doing right here with this life as black men and women? Begging a government to do something for us that we know damn well we should be able to go up and do something for ourselves. Now, nothing happens in this life without God's or Allah's either active or his permissive will. You being here is by his active or his permissive will. Now, all of us can agree that we are the chosen people of God. Did we know that? Yes, all right. Now, walk with me on this one. Do you think then, since we are all the chosen people of God, and we say we believe in God, and belief ultimately should put us on a path to know God. But since right now we're at the point of belief, here's a question. Do you think that he have a hand in the affairs of the most wicked government that this world has ever seen, that has swallowed his people hook, line, and sinker? And what is his plan? See, we didn't ask God what's his plan. We thought his plan was Kamala. We think his plan is whoever runs every 4 years. Did we ever ask God, what is your plan for this? Can we just walk down a little bit? Because we leading up to my brother, Dr. Umar, because he's given he's going to give us a great word of knowledge. We have been broken because of lack of knowledge. We have been broken because we have lost the knowledge of being a once great people, the builders of civilization. And since we lack that knowledge, now we're turning in one on ourselves. So now there's fratricidal violence one to each other. We don't know how to take care of our woman anymore. We don't know how to love our brother anymore. We rob our own stores. We mad dog each other all the time. We unforgiving to each other, but yet forgiving like hell to our enemy. It's not our fault. We have been made that way. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan one time was having a discussion with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And at that table, Minister Farrakhan was reviewing some of his lectures with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad was so proud of his student. And he told his student, he says, remember, brother, it is knowledge that has formed you. That is a beautiful thing once we get the right knowledge in our minds. Because so far, the knowledge that we've been given under 400 years of this has been how to become employees. The knowledge we've been given under this was how to become better servants to our open enemy who we viewed as our masters. The knowledge we've been given under this was to have a deity or a God that don't look like you. We are the only people on the planet that worships a God that don't look like us. And worships the same God and the same religion that your former slave masters put you in. And then we concretize that by calling it the truth, as long as it makes you a better slave or a better servant to them. So God says in the Bible, if my people are called by my name, what's your name? And what name are we being called by? Is my last name really Moore? Jones, Johnson, Culpepper, McGillicuddy, Brass, Fish, Roach. How does the people of God get named after the creation? Roach, Hopper. What other names out there? Dog, Glass, Thomas, former slave master, a huge one at that. We got to get these guys back their names first and foremost. Because their sisters, how many of you have had a no good, rotten husband, and when the minute you got that divorce, he says, I'm giving him back his name. I want nothing else to do with that Negro. We need to keep that same energy for our former slave master and their children. And find a name of God and find a name really of your Father who is God. Let me wrap this up. I'm going to keep this going. Y'all all right? I want to hear from Dr. Umar. So what is the plan of God in all of this? Did you know that when you take a look at the prophets, Moses was not an integrationist. Let's talk about that. Moses did not go to Pharaoh and said, let my people vote. I'm going to say that one more time. There's nothing wrong with voting. But you don't vote your own interests. You vote the interests of your enemy. And we put their talking points as our talking points. He didn't say, let my people vote. He said, let my people what? Go. Oh, boy. Go where? To a land that they can have of their own. Jesus said that my kingdom is the Democratic Party. Did he say that? Did Jesus say that my kingdom is the Republican Party? The Green Party? Independence Party? He said, my kingdom is not of this world. Love of this world is enmity, Jesus said, with the Father. And so now, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that we are at the end of this present world. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us that the judgment of God has now entered into America. 4 great judgments, he says: rain, snow, hail, earthquakes. And he says that the weather will get increasingly worse, with the hopes that America will either humble herself or fall. So the Bible, that's why my sister said, let it fall. Because the Bible says Babylon has fallen, is fallen, because she has become the habitation of devils. But the Nation of Islam didn't say that. The Bible says that. And has become a cage for every foul bird and a hole for every unclean spirit. Everything that is against the rise of our people is right here. Can a country with this foundation, the murder of our native people, the subjugation and the chattel enslavement of God's people, does a foundation like that in this country, does it deserve to live? Oh, it got real quiet. Okay, y'all ain't convinced yet. I'm going to take y'all to the good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Because the only part about Dr. Martin Luther King that they tell you about is the man who was a dreamer. But the part they did not tell you about, that Martin Luther King had a fateful meeting with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And let me tell you what Dr. King said to his friend, our brother, what's his name, the entertainer, Harry Belafonte. He said to Harry, I fear that I have integrated my people into a burning house. He saw that this thing that we're trying to make work, called the American system, is a burning house. And you have now seen over and over and over again that this system don't work. And it hurts me, dear family, to see us go through pain over and over again, every 2 years, every 4 years, to try to make this work when it's not supposed to work. Have we forgotten the Kerner Commission, where it says this: there are two Americas, one black, one white, one rich, one poor, separate and unequal. So what is God's solution for us? Get out of her, my people, the scripture says, lest we be partakers of her plagues. I'm going to read to you. Can I read to you a little bit from the final call? Yes, just real quick. In the back page of every final call, there's something called What the Muslims Want. And I'm going to read to you your solution and my solution. And what the Muslims want is really what all of us want, because it starts off with what we want: a freedom, a full and complete freedom. We want equality. We want justice. But here's the part I want to read to us, because I love my brother Dr. Umar so much, because he represents a new educational paradigm for our people. Brother Malcolm says that only a fool will take their children into an institution that kills their parents and ask for them to educate him. Okay. Let me read to you. I will give him the time is about up. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, we want our people in America whose parents or grandparents were descendants from slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory of their own, either on this continent or elsewhere. We can't say it wasn't done because America did it for Israel. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to provide such land, and that area must be fertile and minerally rich. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to maintain and supply our needs in a separate territory for the next 20 to 25 years until we're able to produce and supply our own needs. Come on out to Muhammad Mosque 75 every Sunday at 11 o'clock to hear more of the Muslim program. And I'm so honored to hear from my brother, Dr. Umar Johnson. No, what's his real name? His last name? What's it again? Infatunde. There we go. My apologies, dear brother. I don't ever want to call you by the name of your former slave master. But I'm so honored to hear from my brother. Because my brother says, he don't want to be like nobody else. He want to be his authentic black self. And so I want to ask all of us when we leave here, let's support our brother. Let's support his desire to set up a school. Let's support all the things that he want to do for our people, because it is my judgment, and I can't speak for God, but I can speak for me, that my brother has a pure heart. And he want to see the advance of our people, and so do we. Thank you for listening. I'll leave you as I came before you with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
How's everybody doing?
Black power! Black power! Black power! All right, Las Vegas. Glad to be back. It's been about 2 years since the last visit. It's good to see everyone out. I thought many of you would be on the strip with the race cars bunny hopping. Glad to see you. I came out to hang out with Dr. Umar tonight. I want to start off with an ancestor story, because I like to invite our ancestors into space
with us. And that story is going to be none other than Queen Mother Araminta Rawls Harriet Tubman. Queen Mother Harriet was born around 1821-22. We don't know the exact year, because in those days they didn't keep the exact dates when our ancestors were born, because they were considered things, property, chattel. So they just kept an inventory of them. So Queen Mother Harriet Tubman decided that she had had enough on the plantation. She was worked like a man, never like a woman. She was forced to go and hunt muskrats and cut timber and drag wood all around. She had once gotten injured in her head because the slave master threw a 2-pound weight at a fellow enslaved African, and Harriet jumped in the way to protect him, and that put a gash in her head. And she suffered from, some would say, seizures for the rest of her life, definitely blackout spells. But as you know, when you go through them kind of traumas, sometimes they open you up spiritually. If you're an African person, if you've been to any deep trauma, it normally was a gateway to a deeper understanding of spiritual consciousness. So Queen Mother Harriet in 1849 decided to run away. 1 year before the 1850 Fugitive Slave Bill that allowed slave masters to go and track their quote-unquote property anywhere in America, including free states. So once she got through Maryland and got through Delaware and ended up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Underground Railroad office that was located at 4th and Market Streets, only a block away from the Liberty Bell. She got there and she met William Still. William Still, who prepared the largest collection of escaped slave narratives in American history. After she got to Philadelphia, she started working to raise money. She didn't forget about where she came from like a lot of us do. Queen Mother Harriet said, I may be free, but there's many more like me who are not. So she decided to go back to Maryland, go back on the slave trail, by herself, about 100 pounds, soaking wet, no more than about 5 feet tall. So she goes back, and she frees more Africans. About 19 trips she took, freed every brother and sister she had except one who had already, I believe, been sold too far south. After that, her parents begged her not to come back no more. They said, Harriet, Minty, your slave master has a $40,000 bounty on your head, dead or alive. Slave catchers were looking for her. She spent a lot of time in southern Pennsylvania, in Chester, PA. She spent a lot of time in Wilmington, Delaware, right where the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is. And Harriet Tubman told her parents, in no uncertain terms, that God gave me this mission. The Creator put me on this path. And until the Creator tells me that he's done with my work, I cannot stop. And she said, if I get caught, if they take my life, don't be distressed, because that's just a message from heaven that I had done my work and it's time to come on home. So Harriet Tubman hears about the fact that her mother and father are supposed to be sold into slavery, although they were free at the time, because it was uncovered they were helping people on the Underground Railroad. So when she got word that her parents would be sold, she came to Wilmington, Delaware, a few blocks from FDMG Academy. And she went to a white man by the name of Thomas Garrett, who's buried 4 minutes from the FDMG Academy, and he loaned Harriet Tubman a horse and carriage. And Harriet Tubman took this horse and carriage down nearly 2 hours away to where her parents were soon to be sold, and she rushed in and threw her mother and father, her aging elderly parents, onto this wagon and rode them all the way back to Philadelphia to freedom. After that, she still didn't stop. Went back again and again and again, and then she purchased some land up in Auburn, New York. She opened up an old folks' home because, you know, back then, they would just turn our elders out onto the street when they was too old to work. So Harriet Tubman opened up an old folks' home. Now, mind you, they say she was unlearned, couldn't read nor write, but she had enough wisdom and intelligence to open up a home for black seniors. And then she opened up a hospital for black seniors. And then she opened up a farm to raise money to finance the home and the hospital. This is a woman with no formal education. Look at all the education we have. What institutions have you built? And so then Harriet Tubman gets a phone call. Secretary of War for the Union, we need you. President Abraham Lincoln needs you to join the Union war effort. So Harriet Tubman stops what she's doing. She goes down to South Carolina, serves as a nurse and a spy and a scout. She wasn't given a salary, even though her services were requested by the federal government. So she made her money by cleaning and healing soldiers. She was a cook, and she was a herbalist and a naturopath. And that's how she made her money. And so Harriet Tubman becomes the first and only woman in American history to lead soldiers into battle. In 1863, she led U.S. colored troops on the Combahee River Raid. And in one day, Harriet Tubman and a group of black soldiers freed over 750 slaves in a day. It may very well be the largest slave rescue in American history. And she is certainly the only woman to lead soldiers into battle in the history of this country. That's why they call her General Tubman. So when the Civil War was over, Harriet Tubman goes back to Auburn. She puts in a request to be compensated for her services, and she is denied. She finally gets a widow's pension because her second husband, after he died, she collected a widow's pension, but she was never compensated for her own services. When she was old, frail and brittle, not far from the ancestors, they sat her down and asked her. They said, "Who do you think you were to do what you did?" She said, "I was just following my Lord. He gave me a message to go and free his people, and I couldn't say no." She said, "I went over 19 times, freed hundreds of them." They said, "Were you ever scared on that Underground Railroad?" She said, "Never. Whenever I ran into a situation, I would get on my hands and knees, and I would ask the Almighty to find a way out of it." And she said, whenever I did that, whenever I kept my faith strong, the good Lord would find a way for me out of my circumstances. She said, every journey I took a rifle or pistol with me. Because every once in a while there would be some scared Negro who would want to turn back. She said we would get so far away and they would be so scared of hearing the bloodhounds and hear the slave master screaming and hear the wolves in the woods and the cold, because we often had no shoes, and they just said, "I can't take it, Minty. I got to go back." And she said, whenever a Negro dared to go back to the plantation, I would cock my rifle up to his head and say, "Dead niggas tell no tales. You go on or you die here." And she said, because of that, I never lost a passenger and I never ran my train off the track. She said, I had just one regret, though. Just one. She said, for all my years on the Underground Railroad and all the enslaved Africans I helped to free, I freed many of them, but I could have freed so many more. The problem was they didn't even know that they were slaves. Queen Mother Harriet Tubman said, I had reasoned it out in my mind ahead of time that I had a right to one or the other, freedom or death. And if I couldn't have one, I would certainly have the other, for no man should take me alive. Brothers and sisters, what happened to that kind of courage? Brothers and sisters, what happened to that kind of faith? Brothers and sisters, what happened to that kind of sacrifice, persistence, determination, commitment? We have lost the spirit of our ancestors. 2 weeks ago, black people were crashing out all over the United States. Should we vote for the South Asian Indian or should we vote for the orange man? And all over YouTube, all over Instagram, all over the black world, Negroes was fighting each other. I saw a black woman say if her husband don't vote for Kamala Harris, she's getting a divorce. I saw black men who stopped talking to their brothers and sisters because they said, I'm not bothering to vote. There's nothing on the table for me. And as I looked at all these Negroes fighting over the red plantation and fighting over the blue plantation, fighting over the Democratic Party plantation, fighting over the Republican Party plantation, I said to myself, are we that thirsty for the illusion of inclusion? Are we that thirsty for the illusion of inclusion that we would literally destroy relationships in our community over two people, neither of whom has an agenda for us? Brothers and sisters, And if I can make a small request, if we can raise the lights up just a little bit, because I can't see any faces. There we go. There might be some coons out there. I need to know who out there in the audience, brothers and sisters. I got to know who out there. But brothers and sisters, as the whole election thing went on, I'm standing back. And I'm like, I ain't heard nothing about miseducation. Neither side. I ain't heard nothing about mass incarceration. Neither side. I ain't heard nothing about homelessness and gentrification. Well, I was in my hotel today, getting ready to come and meet you all. I was watching the news, and they said that your city council here in Las Vegas, they want to pass a law that basically makes being homeless a crime. If they catch you downtown sleeping, you can go to jail. See, this is the white man's capitalism. They rob from the poor, give to the rich, but they don't want to see no evidence of it. See, they got to keep you thinking that capitalism works. And don't get me wrong, I'm no communist, I'm a Pan-Africanist, but capitalism is no solution. The reason everybody in love with capitalism is they don't understand how it was birthed, and it was birthed on your back. It was the unpaid labor of 4 centuries that gave the white man an economic edge over the rest of the world. Capitalism ain't no better than no other system. It's just they had a 400-year head start. That's it, brothers and sisters. How can you endorse a system where the top 1% own more than the bottom 75? That's economic slavery. In America, top 1% of Americans own more than the bottom 50. And they tell you can change it all with a vote. Brothers and sisters, if voting could change anything for the American African, it would be illegal. It would be illegal. I'm not saying don't vote, but voting is a strategy, Las Vegas. Voting is a tactic, Nevada. Voting is not a way of life. It is not a religion. It is not something you do because you can. You vote because you should. I didn't hear nothing about police genocide from neither candidate. But y'all was crashing out. Negroes say my ancestors died for me to vote. Actually, they died for freedom, justice, and equality. Voting was only the strategy. Stop confusing goals with tactics. Stop confusing goals with tactics. Stop confusing goals with tactics. What did Stokely Carmichael Kwame Ture say? He was interviewed once and they said, well, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, are y'all violent or nonviolent? And Stokely Carmichael Kwame Ture said, I can't answer that because you don't determine a tactic before you have assessed the battlefield. He say, until we see how you crackers are going to respond to us, we don't know if we're going to be violent or nonviolent. Those are tactics. And tactics change based on the agenda or the environment. We think because we voted, we changed something. And I was so disappointed at my black Greek sorority and fraternity brothers and sisters. Because that first night that Vice President Harris declared her candidacy after Joe Biden cognitively clocked out, the black Greeks raised $30 million in a night. One night. $30 million in one night, and gave it to a South Asian Indian to pay for commercials. Now that she lost, what did we get for that $30 million? Nothing at all. You raised $30 million for a presidential candidate, but you come from a community without a single decent school in it. You come from a community without a single decent hospital in it. You come from a community without a decent supermarket in it. You come from a community that don't even have a bank that invests in black people, but you'll give the white power structure $30 million. Las Vegas, in order for us as the American African people to get where we need to be, there will have to be an intellectual civil war amongst us. We will have to separate out who wants to do for themselves and who wants to keep begging from Caucasians. There's two groups. You can't serve two masters. Some of us are in love with free white money. You can't live without free white money. And you fail to realize that the free white money you get is nothing but a strategy of appeasement to keep you from fighting for what is due to you because you're being financed to stay quiet. There was an article that just came out the other day. It revealed that National Action Network founder and president, the Reverend Al Sharpton, received two separate $250,000 checks from Kamala Harris for the campaign. He was paid to make you vote for her. And then it came out that my good friend Swollen Martin, he got about $350,000 from the Kamala Harris campaign to influence black people to vote. So you got to realize when you've been suckered. All them Negroes on TV who was telling us to vote, they were paid to tell you to vote. They were for sale, bought and owned by the Caucasian power structure. I knew it anyway. When my brother Steve Harvey said, they didn't pay me to do this, they might didn't pay you, Steve, but you don't own that radio station. They damn sure paid the Caucasians who own the station. Ain't no way white folks gonna let you get up there and push a black candidate who raised $30 million in a night and they not gonna be compensated. See, we gotta understand something. After racism itself, the black bourgeoisie is the greatest enemy of Las Vegas. If you don't expose the gatekeepers, you'll never get free. You got certain pastors out here, they get funded to keep you dumb, deaf, and blind. You got certain politicians out here, funded to keep you dumb, deaf, and blind. You got scholars at your universities, UNLV and University of Nevada, whose job is to misinform black people through the use of statistics and research. Nobody is supposed to tell you the truth about the hell you catch. All your leaders misrepresent you to the power structure, misrepresent you to the media. You don't think it's a coincidence that whenever they want to know what's going on with black folks, they go to a celebrity? They go to an athlete? Why are we the only people in America whose athletes and celebrities are your spokespersons? The Negroes most controlled by white folks, the Negroes most comfortable with white folks are going to tell your truth to the world. They will never do that. The black entertainer, the black celebrity is a corporate product. I love LeBron James, but he is white power merchandise. I love Deion Sanders, but he's white power merchandise. They don't belong to us no more. They say what they told to say, and they do what they told to do. And that's why whenever I see a young brother in our community who wants to be a football player, wants to be a basketball player, I hear a sister who got a good voice, or she's a great dancer, good engineer, good bass player. On one hand, I'm happy. On the other hand, I'm sad. Because I said in order for him to become what he want to become, he's going to have to go through those people. And once he goes through those people, he will no longer belong to our people. See, one day we got to wake up and ask ourselves, is it worth the price? Is it worth the price sending all our young people into the white power structure to get rich? Is it worth the price sending all of our black men to the NFL and the NBA to get rich what do we get out of that? Can somebody tell me the benefit to the black community of all these athletes that have come through us through the decades? We get nothing out of it, brothers and sisters. Nothing! And a lot of us don't care because we are hypnotized by individualism. You only care about whether you win. You only care about whether your son, your daughter win, your mama win, your family win. You suffer from radical Negro individualism. It's all about me, myself, and I. The average Negro in Nevada ain't thought twice about how to help the community out. And that's why they can pluck us off. They can get any black person they want at any time they want because they know there's no unity. Power is in the group. It's never in the individual. Look how the Latinos move. They move as a group. You mess with one, you got to mess with all of them. Look at how the Asians move. They move as a group. You mess with one, you got to mess with all of them. But look at African people. We real quick to tell people, listen, I'm not a color. I'm an individual. And then you use your religion to support your Negritude by saying things like, Jesus don't see no color. You will reason your self-hatred and blame it on the Lord. And then you say, Dr. Umar, color of Christ don't matter. Well, if the color of Jesus don't matter, why did the white man spend 500 years changing the color on every statue he could find if it did not matter? The people who look like your God can easily replace him as your deity. The people who look like your Lord can easily replace him as your Lord. If it is okay for a white Jesus to hang in your house, if it is okay for a Caucasian Christ to hang on your wall, then it's okay for white people to run your damn life. It's easy to submit to white power after you submit it to a white image. I was in the house of a family friend of mine in New Jersey a couple weeks ago, and they had a big picture of white Jesus on the wall. I had to make them take it off. I said, if you don't take this shit down, and then I said, burn it after you take it down. He said, well, Dr. Umar, why we got to burn it? I said, because if you put this in the garbage, another Negro will come along, take it out the garbage, and put it up on their wall. There's something about his blue eyes they just can't resist. It's something about that pig skin they just can't resist. It's something about that blonde hair that every black woman wants it on her head. It's something. And I'm not knocking my sisters. I'm going to be patient with you because we've been through a lot. No, we hurting. Black people are spiritually broken, and we try to hide it with expensive clothes. We try to hide it with expensive cars. We try to hide it with $1,000 worth of jewelry. We hide it with a fresh haircut, fresh hairstyle, but you spiritually broken. I don't care if you're going to church on Sunday. I don't care if you're going to the masjid on Friday. I don't care if you're going to the temple on Saturday. You're broken. How do you know that, Dr. Umar? Because if you were not broken, there's no way in hell you could be at peace with what they do to our children in your public schools. Only a broken people could put up with that. I read today in the paper that only 70% of black children in Clark County, Nevada, Las Vegas, we have a 70% graduation rate. Do you know what that means? 1 in 4 do not graduate. And when they talk in graduation rates, they're only talking about the children who go to school. The ones who dropped out are not even a part of the equation. So it's actually worse than 1 in 4. It's probably closer to 2 out of 4, and we're not saying nothing about it. The Latinos got an 80% graduation rate. We got 69. And guess what? They said the 69% graduation rate for the class of 2024, Las Vegas, Nevada, is actually down from 2023. So it's getting worse and worse and worse, but you're not in an uproar because you're spiritually broken. See, stop telling me you believe in God when you're comfortable with the devil's foot on your neck. Those two can't coexist. Those two cannot coexist. Why haven't we as a community went to the school district and had a sit down with the superintendent? Why haven't we went to the school board and had a sit down with the chair of the school board? How about the entire school board? We want to know why only 69% of our children who go to school are graduating. And then they said they have a financial crisis in the Clark County Public Schools. They're talking about air conditioning right now. They say the air conditioners don't work, that the children are sweating to death in the classrooms. Some of y'all don't even know this. They ain't got no ventilation in these damn classes. But you know what's funny? When you hear school districts talk about we ain't got enough money for special ed and we ain't got enough money for air conditioners, they always have enough money to pay their snow bunny teachers, though. You notice that? Teachers don't ever miss a paycheck. Your children might not have no air. They might not have no books. They might not have enough money for services, but the white women always get paid on time. And that's because we allow it. We are a bunch of suckers and simps and cowards. They don't even expect you to show up and make a fuss. They don't even expect you to write a letter or hold a protest. We've been beaten out of submission, spiritually broken. I don't care how religious you are. Show me your institutions. If you ain't got none, you're broken. In Las Vegas, be careful about this people of color thing that they push. People of color. People of color. They're trying to get you to rename yourself people of color. Stop saying black. You know why? Because if we get them to say people of color, we no longer have to count their issues separate. We could phase Negroes on out and nobody would even know because we got them lumped in with other non-white people who hate their guts as much as we do. Look what they did in Chicago and New York with the migrant crisis. They flooded them cities with Latinos from South America. Gave them free housing. They opened up schools that they said they couldn't afford to run. But they opened them for non-American migrants. They gave them credit cards. They let a lot of them vote. They gave them housing. And yet black America has the highest homelessness rate since Dr. King. Look in New York City. The mayor was putting the migrants up in 4- and 5-star hotels. And then they went around and start begging New Yorkers, if you let them live with you, we will give you a subsidy. I said, black New York, don't you let the migrants in your house. Because you know there's residency laws where you just can't put people out once they live there. If you let them in your house, they're going to take over your house. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to leave your house and the migrants will own your house. And do you know why they decided to do that to Chicago and New York? Because those are the two blackest cities we have. They're the two most politically conscious cities we have. So the Democratic Party that you love so much said that if we can brown wash the black people out of New York, and if we can brown wash the black people out of Chicago, we won't have to worry about the black vote on election day. The Democratic Party is tired of catering to you. And now Donald Trump, he can deport all he want to deport. There's so many of them migrants who done already made babies here, they not going nowhere. You ain't going to be able to separate them from their mother. I don't care what he say. That's all talk. Donald Trump know the migrant crisis is here to stay. Because if you don't let the migrants stay, white corporations will pack up and take their factories overseas. The migrants are here to keep the costs down for the factories. That's why they're here. They letting them in. Donald Trump is full of SH, you know what? They're not going to stop coming. That wall he built, they had videos of the wall with the migrants paying somebody 50 US and walking right around the wall with their kids. Like the Wizard of Oz. Ain't no wall kept no damn migrants out. Has a fence ever kept somebody out your backyard from stealing your shit? So what make you think? No wall. Who the hell you know got stopped by a wall without enough security at it? You got a guard for every 100 miles or so. That ain't stopping nobody. It's propaganda to make the American people think that they are still the priority. That's over with. Brothers and sisters, we better wake up and understand something. If we don't come together and do for ourselves, we will be extinct in this country. We will be extinct in this country. I read an article, they said teenage pregnancy in the black community is down for the first time since the 1960s. Of course it is. Because y'all done already LGBTized our babies. Barack Obama. I'm not knocking you if you're sexually confused. I'm not knocking you. I don't agree with you, but I'm not knocking you. I love all black folks. One day we're going to get you right. But Barack Obama brought that in. He did that. All in the schools with it. Now, don't get me wrong. We always had LGBT. But you never had a mainstream LGBT. To the point where, if you disagree with it, it could cost you your job, your career. I used to speak at about 30 graduations every spring. Elementary school graduation, middle school graduation, high school graduation. And soon when Obama started pushing that, my graduations went down because the rainbow gangers in the schools, they would write letters to the superintendent talking about he's homophobic. I said, this is a graduation speech. I'm not coming here to talk about gay sex. I'm coming here to motivate our kids to do well with the rest of their life. What does that have to do? And they said, we understand, Dr. Umar, but they empower now. They empower now because of your black president. And y'all crashed out for him too. But y'all woke up with Kamala, so I'm glad. Some of y'all started to think a little bit and said, wait a minute now. I've been doing this for a long time. You got to realize now, you vote every 4 years for the president. 4 times 10 is 40 years, so 10 elections. 20 elections, you and your elders. And so we've been getting played for a sucker for a long time using the weapon they call hope. You can always get black people with hope because hope don't have a plan attached to it. Hope don't have a strategy attached to it. You just have to give black people the belief that you're going to do something. And when you don't, you just tell them, I need a little more time. You know they did the same thing in slavery, right? They kept saying, we're going to end this sooner or later, but not now. And it wasn't until Nat Turner and Gabriel Prosser and Denmark Vesey and Sen Q and Madison Washington and Toussaint L'Ouverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Cujo and Akangpong and Mama Solitude and General Del Glass, they said, you know what? Enough of your promises. We're going to end this ourselves. You got to take laws into your own hands. God made us the masters. So why we keep looking for them for the salvation? As long as we keep looking to Caucasians for the salvation, we'll never get divine assistance because they are not your owners. When are the black businesses in Las Vegas going to come together and create a black business system? So if I buy from the hair care place, I get 10% off when I go to the car place. And if I shop at the car place, I'm going to get 20% off at the corner store. And if I shop at the corner store, I'm going to get 10% off at the daycare. And if I shop at the daycare, I'm going to get 10% off on my lawn care. The problem with black businesses is we compete too much. Why not work together? You see white businesses merging every year. They say, you know what? We can make more money if we work together. Why don't black people understand that? The only reason the Koreans took over the black hair care is y'all was too busy competing. And then they said we want to do something about the violence in the black community. too many black boys killing black boys. I agree. But I don't hear nothing about attacking poverty. See, poverty is the grandparent of all crime. Poverty is the grandparent of all crime. So when is your city council going to start talking about poverty elimination, poverty reduction? And the quickest way to reduce poverty is to give black men some damn jobs. When are we going to have that conversation, Mayor? Y'all got a snow bunny been in there for what, 12, 13 years? Her husband was the mayor before her. What kind of shit is that? Y'all done kept it. I ain't never heard anything like that in my life. He pimped you and then passed it off for the wife to get another 12. And if it wasn't for the fact that in Las Vegas you can only run for 3 terms, she'd get elected again. And then I see you only got one brother on the Las Vegas City Council. Everybody else is snow bunnies and salsa bunnies, everybody else. So I know y'all ain't getting no justice unless y'all organize. Stokely Carmichael said, if you organize a little bit, you get a little done. If you organize some, you get some done. But if you don't organize at all, you don't get nothing done. Las Vegas, what are y'all, the 5th largest public school system in America? Y'all got about 40,000 children in special ed. I saw that y'all have a class action lawsuit against the special ed system in Clark County Public Schools. 40,000 children, mostly black, disproportionately black in Las Vegas schools, aren't getting their appropriate special ed services. So let me ask y'all a question. As a school psychologist, if your child attends school in a district where the special needs children are not getting special needs help, why the hell you still have them in special ed? I'm trying to find out what's wrong with you. And let me tell you a little secret. 20,000 of those 40,000 don't have a damn thing wrong with them. They were put in special ed because they couldn't sit still long enough for the snow bunnies. And what they never tell you is you can't put a child in special ed for behavior problems. Let me say it again because I know you never heard it before. I'm giving you the federal law. In the United States of America, it is illegal to put a child in special ed for behavior problems. You can only qualify for special ed, that is the IEP, if your disability affects your learning in the regular classroom. I don't care how bad your son is. If he don't have problem learning, he can't qualify. I don't care how autistic your son is. If that autistic boy can learn in a regular class, why is he in special ed? I don't care how emotionally disturbed your daughter is. And she probably got disturbed by Caucasians. She cannot go to special ed unless her emotional disturbance affects her learning. If the autism don't affect learning, if the hearing problem don't affect learning, if the so-called ADHD, ain't no daddy at home disorder, if that don't affect learning, no damn ADHD. Every little black boy is ADHD because ADHD is normal alpha male child behavior. That's regular. But when your child is being taught by people who can't stand their guts, who have nothing but contempt and no patience, being a boy becomes a disease. And then they want to give them the Ritalin, they want to give them the Adderall, they want to give them the Concerta, the Cyclert, the Metadate, and you take them to get it. And nobody tells you that while your son is under the influence of the meds, he can't possibly be paying attention. He's comatose. He's comatose. He's not learning. He's not moving, but his brain ain't moving either. See, when they slow down his body, they slow down his brain because your body is controlled by your brain. And you give your son crack, literally synthesized cocaine so he can learn about Christopher Columbus. And then you call me up after you done messed his life up. Dr. Umar, can you help us? They tested him 2 years ago. They put him in special ed. They. I don't want to hear they no more, Las Vegas. I want to hear you. Why do I want to hear you? Because you got to sign your name 4 times before they do anything. You had to sign a permission to evaluate form so the school psychologist could test them. That's me. Then after I'm done my evaluation, you have to sign agreement with my evaluation. After you sign agreement with my evaluation, you got to sign agreement with the IEP, incarceration education preparation. And then after you sign the IEP, your 4th signature is the special ed service plan. If you don't sign the service plan, we can't take them from the regular class and put them in the special one. You did it to your child. Most of our children do not have learning disabilities. They have lazy disabilities. They are lazy and you know it. But the problem is you are lazy when it comes to proper parenting skills. I know how the game go. That's why whenever I evaluate a black child, I tell them the truth. Even the white kids, I tell them the truth. Dr. Umar, what am I in here for? Your mother signed paperwork saying that she think your ass is slow. I'm real, because I want them to know what's on the line here today. Do you want to come to school in that yellow bus, son? Oh, hell no. The slow bus? Yeah, the slow bus. I'm not slow. You sure you're not slow? I'm sure I'm not slow. Well, guess what we're going to do today, young man? You're going to be with me all day. And if we don't finish up, I'm going to get you tomorrow. I'm going to give you an IQ test. That's going to be about an hour to an hour and a half. I'm going to give you an achievement assessment. That's going to be about 90 minutes to 2 hours. I'm going to give you a visual motor scale. That's 10 minutes. I'm going to give you an adaptive behavior screening. That's 10 minutes. I'm going to give you an emotional measure. That's about 10 minutes. And after you do these tests, I'm going to score them up. And if you score low on these tests, you go to special ed. If you score high on these tests, you stay in the regular class. And guess what? Because they know the costs, they give me their best. And then I take the report to the coonish mother or father and the snow bunny principal, and they look at the scores and they say, well, Dr. Umar, this kid has scored below proficient on the last 3 Nevada State academic assessments. How do you explain your above average scores on this test? Are you sure this is the right child? Of course I'm sure. So how do you explain the discrepancy in achievement from the classroom to your office? I say it's real simple. In your class, he do whatever the hell he wants. In my office, he does what he can. So this is not an achievement problem. This is not a learning problem. This is motivation, interest, and concentration. And I'm telling all you parents right now, until you account for motivation, interest, and concentration, don't come to me with no damn reading disability. He don't have a reading disability. He has a I don't feel like reading disability. Those are not the same. And I'm trying to understand mothers and fathers because Christmas is coming up. Well, wait, before Christmas, y'all going to have a candlelight dinner to celebrate the genocide of the Native Americans, first of all. You want people to cry about our slavery, but you're going to celebrate the genocide of another people. And then the day after your genocide dinner, you're going to run out here to all these non-black stores and start buying all kinds of junk that don't improve your life or your child, but will bankrupt you financially. And you do it because you are caught up in the illusion of inclusion. And you're going to spend about $1 billion, Las Vegas, on Christmas gifts. That $1 billion could have built a school, a hospital, a bank, and a supermarket. And you're going to go crying after Donald Trump gets sworn in January the 20th, begging about what he need to do for black folks when black folks didn't even do it for themselves. We are a walking contradiction. To go crazy like that on November 5th and be at the store spending your last dollar with non-black people 3 weeks later. a complete contradiction. And I'm going to say this. You are a horrible parent. You are the worst parent in Nevada. If your child is failing a class and they end up with a cell phone, iPad, or video game under the Christmas tree. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you that right now. You're the worst parent in the state. How dare you enable an underachieving child with gifts for Christmas? How the hell he going to improve his math skills when he got a video game that he's on all night? Huh? There shouldn't even be a video game system in a house where you got children in special ed. There shouldn't even be a video game system in a house and where you got children who are failing major academic subjects. Black power. I heard you, little one, wherever you at. Black power. Come on, y'all. We turning our kids into a permanent underclass. We making them think it's okay to fail. We got you. But when you die, who gonna have them? As Brother Malcolm said, you got to be twice as good to get half as much. What are you doing spoiling children? And my single mothers, I feel for you because you're doing the best you can with our sons. And I want to say it's not your fault. Black men should be helping you raise these boys. Black men, we are an insult to masculinity because we walk past black women every day struggling with sons, and we don't stop to find out what we can do to help her out. In African culture, turning the boys to men is the men's job. It is not the mother's job. I don't care if she got 6 sons. It is never the job of an African woman to turn her boys to men. But with that being said, black women, I need you to do a little better job with your boys because some of you are spoiling them to death, enabling them to death, corrupting them to death, effeminizing them, not sexually, but emotionally to death. And then you say, I can't find a good black man. Is it possible you can't find one because you're not raising any? You're looking for something that you're not even making for somebody else's daughter. And don't worry, the ancestors won't punish you alone. They're going to punish every black man in this audience with you because that's our job to be helping you out. Ours. All this sex trafficking of black girls is out of control. You know, black teenage girls are the #1 most wanted victim on the sex trafficking market. They want them 12 to 17. They kidnapping our girls off the street. You know the government is involved in it. See, they using R. Kelly and Puffy as a distraction. Don't get me wrong. If you did the crime, you should do the time. I'm not protecting no pedophiles or no sexual traffickers of women. I'm not. If you do the crime, you do the time. I'm not excusing them. I'm saying that how do we lock on to a Puffy and we don't say nothing about Vince McMahon? We lock on to a Puffy, but we don't say nothing about that guy. What was his name? Weinberg? Harvey Weinstein. You mean to tell me we'll crucify Sean Combs, but we won't say nothing about the tens of thousands of black kids molested by Roman Catholic preachers over the past 50 years? Will the real hypocrite please stand up? What Puffy did to Cassie was wrong. Absolutely unacceptable, whether she got paid or not. But I saw black people get into their self-righteousness. But you got a brother who do the same thing to his girlfriend every day. You don't say shit. You got a grandfather do the same thing to your grandmother. You don't do nothing. You got a cousin beat his wife head in every night. You ain't said a word, but you'll hold Puffy accountable. Selective self-righteousness is moral hypocrisy. If you're going to be against it when Puffy do it, you better be against it when they do it in your family. In the Gospels, didn't the black Christ say, I come to turn a man against his household? He didn't say, I come to make you enemies just because. He's saying, if you really going to follow me, you will have to expose the evil in your own family. And in exposing the evil in your own family, they will become your enemies. Brothers and sisters, oil and water don't mix. The righteous are never at peace with the unrighteous. Never. I just came from being with your brothers and sisters in Australia. 16 hours away at the bottom of the earth. And what was so interesting about being in Melbourne, Australia, in Queensland, Australia, in Sydney, Australia, they going through the same hell you going through. It's the same thing. African children over there killing each other. Single black mothers everywhere. White Jesus on everybody's wall. Homelessness and unemployment. What they do to any black population, they do to every black population. Week before that, I was in London, England, Birmingham, England. Same thing. Black kids killing each other, killing themselves. Black mothers raising kids on their own. Black men unemployed, homeless, and in jail. When are we going to create a new black world order? I don't want to hear about the Bill Gates world order. To hell with the Caucasians. What are we going to do for ourselves? That is the question going into 2025. What is the black man and woman of America going to do for themselves? Nobody feels sorry for you because a $2 trillion people shouldn't be complaining about much. A $2 trillion people shouldn't be complaining about much. If you can spend $30 billion on hair and beauty, why your kids ain't got no schools? If we can spend $2 billion on Air Jordans and another $2 to $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, why we ain't got no after-school jobs for our children? And if I could talk to Oprah, if I could talk to LeBron, if I could talk to some of these celebrities who keep paying for college education, I would tell them to put it into that. Stop paying for college education, because all you're doing is giving money to white-controlled institutions, making it look like you're serving us. Stop giving money to white institutions. Put that money in a child's hand and give them a business coach so they can turn that into a business. That's what you do. You don't give no $250,000 to a white college. Give it to them in the form of a business grant. Why our celebrities don't give out business grants? You notice that? They'll pay for college. They'll pay for turkeys. They'll pay for sneakers. But they will not use that money for economic empowerment because they know that is the threat. Everybody knows if you give black people with their intelligence, if you give black people money with their psychological ingenuity, with their imagination, with their creative minds, if you marry black brain power to black dollar power, we'd be a superpower overnight. See, brothers and sisters, they didn't desegregate the schools because they thought black kids would learn better sitting next to white children. That's not why they desegregated schools in 1954. They desegregated schools because they were afraid that if we don't stop what they are doing in the black schools, even though they were dilapidated, even though they were underfunded, even though when it rained, the water came through the ceiling, but despite all that, them black teachers and them black schoolhouses was producing a better educated learner than the most expensive white private school in America. Remember Las Vegas? We invented the gas mask before we went to school with white kids. We invented the stoplight before we went to school with white kids. We invented the refrigerated truck before we went to school with white children. We invented the self-lubricating engine before we went to school with white children. White people said, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing. White kids ain't even thinking about this kind of stuff. If we don't put it into it, Negroes will own this society. So they integrated. They forcibly bust our kids into the white schools. But guess what? When they sent the black kids into the white schools, they didn't send the black teachers with them. The biggest loss of black educators was between when? 1954 and 1974, because special ed came in 75. They didn't start bringing black teachers back into America's public schools until special ed. In other words, they made sure they already had a system in place to turn our children into a permanent underclass before they brought the black teachers in. They knew if they sent the black teachers with the black children, they couldn't have destroyed our babies' minds, so they kept the black teachers out. The biggest untold story of the school desegregation movement was the casualties of black teachers who lost their jobs. A whole generation of black teachers were kept out of the schools to make sure white women could break the spirit of our children. And let's be clear, Las Vegas. The purpose of public school for the black boy is to teach him who his slave master is. Your son can't read, but he know who the president is. Your son can't count, he know white people run things in his country. Your son Mike can't spell his name, but he knows that there's nothing his mother or father can do about anything white folks decide to do to him. Control and white power is the curriculum of the American public school system. To break the spirit, the school is the plantation. The school is a modern-day plantation where the spirit of unapologetically African alpha male children is broken down beyond repair. And we got to stop sending our boys into these schools, because what did the Honorable Frederick Douglass say? It is better to raise strong children than to repair broken men. We are letting them break the spirit of our sons. And then we got to spend the rest of their life trying to turn them back into men. How about we do it right the first time? Why don't we have a homeschooling cooperative in Las Vegas? If we got 10 parents in this auditorium who want to homeschool their children, one of y'all could be the math teacher on Monday. Another one is science on Tuesday. Another one is language on Wednesday. Social studies on Thursday. African history on Friday. African martial arts on the weekend. Agricultural science and farming on Sunday afternoon. Brothers and sisters, if we work together, we can overturn this. But until you start hating racism more than you hate each other, you could take the slave out of slavery, but only the slave can take slavery out of himself. We keep talking about going to war with the white man, going to war with the white man, and one day you will have to. But guess what? Until you kill the one living inside of you, until you exercise the inner cracker, it don't matter who on the outside. The chains are now within us now. These are psychological bondage. Black women, if you want to save the self-esteem of black girls, one day all of you are going to have to go natural. It's no way around it. This is real talk. This is real talk. You have to, black women, because there's no greater boost to a black girl's self-esteem than to see her women, her aunt, my grandma, my mama, wearing their hair as God made it. Not only that, sister, have you seen the research on the cancer that's being triggered by the chemicals and the weaves and the perms? Are you willing to die to look like a Caucasian? And black men, we can't talk, because why is she trying to look like a Caucasian? Because our queens have studied us. And in studying us, they have learned that we prefer a woman with a European phenotype. We like the Kim Kardashian look. Black body, white flesh. Our women are trying to look attractive because that's how we want her to look. Let's be real. We don't want her happy to be nappy. Let's be honest. Y'all know my rules, ladies. If I can't grab it, you damn sure can't have it. You understand? Got to go natural for the self-respect of our little girls. And black women, no more BBLs. We're done with that. New Year's resolution for all black queens. In fact, I'm going to pass a rule. You can't come to no more of my talks if you got any kind of superficial surgeries. And they don't even make the BBL look right no more. They got the butt all on the side of your hips. You looking like a candy heart or something. Supposed to be in the back. It's supposed to be Cinnabons. They got your cheeks on the side. That don't look right. You look like a spitting top. And then you get the breast implants and they hurt. You can't even touch them. What's good is it if I can't even touch them? You spend how much for this? And then what happened when you become an elder? What happens when you're 70 years old? What happens to all them sacks they didn't put in your booty? What happened to all them sacks they put in your breast? You 70 and 80, because you know as you age, you tend to drop a little bit. But now you got 20 extra artificial pounds. You're going to be down on the ground. Black woman, don't desecrate your temple for no man. Don't desecrate no temple. If a man tell you he's going to pay for you to get surgery, you tell him you're going to find another man who don't need to pay for the surgery. You are fine as you are. The most attractive thing on a woman is self-confidence, not body parts. I'm serious. Stop desecrating your temple. And what's up with the eyelashes? Talk to me. There's nothing attractive about windshield wipers over your eyes. I'm looking like, do she think this is cute? What is this? You look like Eddie Munster, Herman Munster. And then the glue making you blind. It's literally, no, the glue blinds you. The ophthalmologist is saying that if it was up to them, they would make the eyelashes illegal because the blue get in your eye and it drops your vision. So now you're going blind and look white. Brothers, if your woman got fake eyelashes, when you go home tonight, snatch them off. Snatch them off. If she got a wig or a weave, snatch it off. You say, baby, we got about 6 weeks until the new year. You starting fresh. You get you some $20 clippers and you just bald her down. See, the problem, black women, y'all keep trying to save that little ringworm patch. No, shave it. Shave it. All your baby hair coming out, shave it. Shave it. Your hairline got Stephen A. Smith, shave it. Listen, I'm a barber. I was a barber in high school. They taught us how to cut hair. Listen, the best way to take care of your hair when you got all kind of cranial issues, go bald and go fresh. And this is the best time because it's about to get cold outside, right? So you can wear African head wraps. Order you 30 African head wraps from Amazon. They on sale right now. Nobody even know you bald head. By the time next spring come around, you have a nice, strong baby afro. Some of y'all gonna have baby locks by then, sister. But what y'all do is y'all can't stand to go bald head for even a month because you think you're unattractive. White folks that convince black women that they have no beauty at all. So you like, if I go bald, I'm not gonna like it because I don't even like me with hair. You gotta get over that self-hate, sister. Because I'm tired of y'all covering y'all face up with all this extra hair y'all don't even need. You go to Africa, they not walking around with all that. Not the traditional queens. The ones imitating you all are. But traditional women, they hair short. They might have some locks, but that's it. Y'all have 50 pounds of fake hair all over your face. You weigh 100, your hair weigh 300. How that's gonna work? Come on. Then the hair be stinking with all them stuff. Oh, Lord. Let me lay on your chest. Oh, damn. Just the Lysol. And then y'all like the Indian hair. Y'all go get the Indian hair, but do you know how the Indian hair come to you? Once a year, the Indian women who are in the Vedic tradition, they shave. They go bald once a year to get all the spiritual toxicity off. They sell that hair to the hair companies. And they take the spiritual junk of Indian women and you buy it and put it on your head. You're wearing the spiritual garbage of another woman from another race on your temple. Let me tell you something about African culture. In African culture, your spirit is in your head. Your soul is in your head. You don't let nobody play with your head because this is your temple. Your skull is a shrine. Your soul is in it. And y'all got everybody touching your hair, perming your hair, weaving your hair. And then you put dead Indian hair on your head. You're destroying your connection to the universe. If it's two things black women got to change, what you let people do to your hair and what you let men do to your womb. Because every time you lay with a man, sister, he imprints you. Every time. You absorb our DNA. Every act of intimacy, you absorb the DNA of the man that you were with. So if you had 30 partners in your life, all 30 of those men remain with you to this day. And brothers, it ain't no different for us either. Every woman we were with, they imprint us. And there's been research that shows your DNA structure can change based on the people you laid with in bed. We have to put the sanctity back in sex. We have allowed the European to sexually objectify everything about our lives. We have completely sexually objectified the black woman from head to toe. When we see a black woman, we don't see a person. We don't see a human being. We see an object of gratification. And to make it worse, so many black women will feed into that and make your body an object of sexual gratification. Look at the reality shows. Look at the gangster rap. The sexual objectification of black women. We must stop it if we want to save the minds of our daughters. Queens and kings, gods and goddesses, we got to go back to it. Because if we don't, the Lord will punish us for disobeying his commandments. And I ain't just talking about the 10 that Moses stole from Kemet. I'm talking about the ones that are way older than that. We know who we are. Everybody knows who we are. And the reason nobody wants to leave us alone, because they know if you give them one crack, if you give them a fighting chance, they'll go back on top because they were meant for the top in the first place. That's why they say the last shall be first and the first shall be last. But we got to work our way back. As I prepare to wrap this up, brothers and sisters, I want to give you my phone number in case you need to reach me. Take your phone out. If you're a parent and you need to have a consultation with me, if anybody has gone through something in your life and you need a life coaching session with me, feel free to text me. I don't answer the phone. You got to text me first because you might be a coon. Text me first. And we will set it up. When I leave you guys, I go back to Philadelphia. I ain't been home in about a month because I went from London to Nat Turner to Australia to Vegas, back to Philly. But I have to go and pick out the flooring for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. All renovations are done except the floor, brothers and sisters. Everything is done. Everything is done except the floor. So we have 11 rooms that we got to cover up because we took the old rugs out. I have to go to the floor store, pick out the floor that I want, and the contractor's going to lay it in. We at 11:55 right now. We right at the finish line. So when we lay them floors down, we applying for our certificate of occupancy. If all goes well, we're going to have a grand opening, either the first or second quarter of 2025. And if any of you have donated to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, I would hope that you would fly to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, drive 20 minutes to the front door of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Wilmington, Delaware is Philadelphia's backyard. I can get to the airport faster from FDMG, Delaware than I can from my home in Philadelphia. They're right next door to each other. So I'm hoping that you come and celebrate. If you haven't donated to the school, text me for the donation information because you will never be allowed inside that school if you haven't donated to the cause. Okay? Once we open, we will be the first school in American history built exclusively and collectively with donations from black people from every single continent on the planet Earth, brothers and sisters. The first ones ever. The first ones ever to do it. The entire African diaspora built FDMG. If you want to work at the school, send me your resumes. Don't worry about being certified. Private school certification is different from public school certification. Not only do we need math, science, language, and social studies, we need people who can speak African language. We need people who can do rifle training, African martial arts, aquaponics, agriculture, how to sew. I have an elder who's going to donate sewing machines to the school. We need people who can come and teach our children how to sew. Some of y'all remember the great grandmaster teacher in Pan-African is Dr. John Henry Clark. Dr. Clark said that people who can't make their own underwear aren't worthy of running a nation. So the first thing our children are going to learn how to do is make their own damn drawers. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. If you know how to make documentaries, come teach our children how to make documentaries. If you do photography, come and do a photography class. I want our young men to graduate from the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy with 21 different entrepreneurial skills. We're talking about economic liberation, brothers and sisters. Economic liberation. So send me your resume. Black women, you know the rules, right? You can't work at my school if your hair not natural. I'm telling you now. No weave, no perm, no straightening comb, no European hair color. If you're not natural now, that's all right. But you better be natural when you show up for work. Black men, you cannot be a bunny hopper. No bunny hoppers working at my damn school. You must be out of your mind if you think your white wife is bringing you lunch into my damn school. You're crazy. No snow bunnies. And let me say this to the brothers. The reason why you should not be bunny hopping because you are disrespecting black women. For all we've been through, black women have stood by us, and for you to turn your back on black women and go with a woman of another race is absolutely unacceptable. I don't hate the white woman. I don't hate the red woman. I don't hate the brown woman. I don't hate the yellow woman. I love the black woman. If she was good enough for me in Africa, she's good enough for me now. If she's good enough for me during slavery, she's good enough for me now. If she's good enough for me during Jim Crow, civil rights, she's good enough for me now. Stop letting these white women use you for your melanin and your money, because they're only coming for one or the other. They want melanin in their babies or money in their wallets. Wake up. These white women ain't marrying you. They leasing your ass. They leasing you. And once they get tired of using you and driving your dumb ass around, they going to go get another fool and do it to him. And you know what bothers me, sisters? When a black man is dating a non-black woman and he comes across a black woman on the street, he won't even acknowledge or speak to you. Have you noticed that? Black men will not speak to black women when they're with their snow bunnies. They go out of their way to make that Caucasian feel like she's the queen of the earth. Absolutely unacceptable. And then you make it bad for black men like me who don't bunny hop, because whenever we get around white women, they keep looking back, thinking you looking at them. I don't want your ass. Don't look back here with your flat ass. I don't want you. There's nothing cute about that shape. Nothing. And I damn sure don't want none of your Thanksgiving cuisine. A whole bunch of mayonnaise and custard and yogurt. Keep that shit. He only wanted you because he got low self-esteem. See, for the black man with the bunny hopping disease, right? The white woman's womb is a metaphorical, symbolic opening into his access to white society. He feels like, if I can penetrate the white woman, I could penetrate white society. So he's sleeping with her as a way to force himself into the reality of Caucasians. There is no such thing as loving Caucasians and not hating yourself. And if you don't believe me, there's a good book you should read by a black psychiatrist, whoever said wrong, you coonish. And it's called Frantz Fanon. He wrote a book called Black Skin, White Mass. Please read Black Skin. This is a black psychiatrist, one of our freedom fighters who was a bunny hopper himself, and told the truth about why black men date outside the race. And it's not just that we date outside the race. We do it more than all other men put together. Look at all the money we lost when Kobe died and it went to Vanessa. Look at all the money that white woman got from Tiger Woods. Look at the money that RG3 and Michael Strahan's ex-bunny. They bunnies went back to court and said, what I'm getting ain't enough, and they was already getting too much. You ain't nothing but a ticket, melanin or money. And for my mixed race Africans, I don't treat you no different than nobody else. If you are African full-time, I treat you as my brother or my sister. You got a white mother and a black father, but you black, I'm with you. You got a white father, black mother, however it goes, as long as you black all the time, I ain't got no problem. My problem is when you get the mixed race Africans who want to be white around white people and black around black. No, we're not doing that. You must be black all the time or black none of the time. We ain't against nobody, but we love ourselves. And see, for me, I don't go around explaining to white people why I don't support interracial relationships. Because a lot of y'all try to explain to the enemy why you don't do what you do. I don't do that. Listen, you don't go to the European Jews and ask them why no black people got invited to the synagogues. You don't go to the Chinese community and ask why none of us are in their churches. You don't go to no other culture who have nobody else but themselves in their institutions and ask them why it ain't no black people. You only come to black people and ask us why it ain't nobody else, because you want us to feel bad about being race first. You want us to feel bad about putting ourselves first. I am here to tell you that the God that I serve expects me to put black people first. The God that I serve expects me to put the black woman first. I hate no one, but I love black people first. If I can help anybody of another color, I'll do it, but not if I have to take from my own. We have been last too long, and it's time for us to be first. Black power. Let me give you my number, 215-989-9858, twice more, 215-989-9858. 9858. Once more, 215 989 9858. That is my direct personal cell. If we take a photo tonight, make sure you text it to me. If you want to get a copy of my book, they are in the lobby, Black Parent Advocate. It's a 500-page book of everything you need to know to save your children from the school system. They want your child in special ed, and you don't want them in special ed, I have the letter. All you got to do is reproduce my letter. Your child in special ed, and they have not benefited from special ed, I have the letter. Your child needs a speech and language eval, they won't give it to you, I have the letter. Your child has a behavior problem, he has an IEP, and they haven't developed a behavior plan, I have the letter. If you homeschooling your children, I got a whole chapter on how to do it right. I have a whole chapter on how to conduct yourself at the school meeting, because a lot of you conduct yourself inappropriately in front of these white folks in the public school. Black women, stop telling white people all your family business. Y'all talk too much. The biggest reason black women are getting their children confiscated from the Clark County Child Protective Services is you sharing too much business with teachers and principals. The school is not your friend. The school is the new prison, the principal is the new warden, and the teacher is the new police officer. And anything you tell them can and will be used against you. 215-989-9858. I'll leave you with a quote from the great and honorable Frederick Douglass, my ancestor. Frederick Douglass and my 4 times great-grandfather were first cousins and half-brothers. They grew up together on Tuckahoe Creek in Talbot County, Maryland. Frederick Douglass said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and deprecate agitation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain but can't stand the thunder or the lightning. They want the ocean but can't deal with the awful roar of its waters. Frederick Douglass said, a man may not get all he wants in this world, but you will pay for everything that you get. And if we as African people are ever going to become free, we must pay for that freedom. We may pay with words, we may pay with blows, we may pay with blood. But he who wants to be free must strike the first blow. He said, for 20 years, I prayed on my knees to God for freedom, but the good Lord gave me no freedom until I got up off my knees and start praying with my feet. He said, if you want respect from white people, why do you look for pity? The man who pities you will never respect you, and the man who respects you has no need for pity. The Right Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said, without confidence in yourself, Las Vegas, you are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have won, even before you have started. Marcus Garvey said, the black man and woman are not in the condition you're in because you're black. You're in the condition you're in because you're black and disorganized. He said, the greatest weapon used against African people is disorganization. Garvey said, if the black man and woman of America are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization, and you will die from the effects of it. Garvey was once asked, are you an African or are you a Jamaican? And the leader of the largest black organization in modern history, who gave us the red, black, and green flag, the only mass leader to build a million-man movement without religion, Garvey looked up and said, you ask me, am I African or am I Jamaican? And I tell you, I would never, ever give up a continent for an island. I am an African. Yesterday, today, and for all times. Las Vegas, Nevada, one love.
Yeah, man, come on, get on your feet.
Hold on, I want to see if they got a few questions, maybe 3 of them.
Yeah, about to do that right now.
I'm going to take 5 questions, only 5.
Only 5? Okay.
Only 5. Raise your hand if you got a question. I'm going to give you a number.
Yes.
Young brother, you 1. Queen, you 2.
Come on, y'all, you got questions?
Young brother 3. With the hoodie on, you 3.
4 right there, that lady with the white.
Where the lady with the white at? Where you at, Queen?
With the white collar line. Right
okay,
there.
You 4 and you 5, right here.
Right.
Number
Mike,
1, I'm going to repeat the question.
Mike King with the mic, come on, number 1.
Where my
right
number
here.
1 at? Go ahead. Oh, what up, man? I didn't even know that was you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
I don't ask you. Go. I don't care about that.
Get him the mic, King.
One moment.
Give him the mic. Give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Can do the mic, please?
Yo, what's up? My name is LaDarren. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles. Doc, I got a question for you. I'm under the firm opinion that we need to destroy and rebuild.
Okay. Thanks.
Some of this, damn, forgive me, I'm a little nervous.
Take your time. Take your time.
I believe that half, if not most of these niggas need to die. I'm just being real with you. I'm from LA.
Keep it real.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're wearing the wrong color, you could easily get pressed. If you look like Steve Urkel, you could easily get pressed. I'm born and raised in LA. Specifically speaking, I'm from the jungles. If you've seen Train Today, you know where I'm from. I gangbanged for over 10 years. I believe that most of these niggas need to go. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to destroy and rebuild. Until you change the way we think, you won't change nothing else, and that sounds beautiful. I love it. But nah, man, I know too many niggas that I'd kill if I had a gun on me right now, and I'm just being real with you.
So that's all you wanted to say? That was it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, we're looking for questions.
Well, no.
Questions.
Yes, it was.
Wait. As far as my question, do you agree with that or do you disagree with that?
Right, what?
I disagree and I agree. Let me explain.
Talk to him.
I feel like some of y'all feathers is ruffled. My bad. Okay, for sure. I'm just saying what y'all
Somebody get that brother Ritalin pill. Yeah. I'm picking with you today. I'm picking with you, bro. At some point, there will be armed physical combat.
Of course.
But that's the final stage of a revolution, never the first. So there may come a time where we may have to consider such means, but not at this time. At this time, we need to intellectually differentiate between who's loyal to the race and who's not, and move out that way. And the reason why I'm being so careful, because even Nellie Fuller in a compensatory code book speaks of what you're speaking of. But he cautions, as I do, that we shouldn't be so quick to say that we want to eliminate African people because we are so influenced by self-hate. Who is to make the decision that somebody is to live or die? I'm saying that that is down the road. We are not serious enough. We are not sophisticated enough. We are not organized enough, and we have not spiritually healed ourselves enough to know that I'm singling you out because you are an enemy to the race versus I'm just jealous of you from the beginning. You see, so we have too much self-hate, too much psychological trauma, too much intergenerational emotional damage for us to be speaking in those terms at this time. There needs to be a lot of spiritual growth. There needs to be a lot of psychological healing. There needs to be more emotional discipline before we can have a serious conversation around who lives and who dies. Black power. Who's my number two? We had a queen over here.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Umar.
Peace, queen.
My name is Tatiana Donaldson. I am born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm the founder of Ambitious Black Girl, a communal organization geared towards empowering and uplifting Black girls and women. So my question to you, Dr. Umar, you spoke a lot about the importance of strategizing and organizing amongst our people. We host a monthly tea and talk that is exclusively for Black women creatives and entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas. Would you be open to being our guest speaker?
Sure.
To share the importance of strategizing and organizing amongst the Black community?
Absolutely.
Although this tea and talk is specifically for Black women, I believe that it would be really important for someone of your stature to speak to the second self of God, which is the Black woman, who can really do the most change and implement the most change within families and organizations, and here in Las Vegas, the importance of strategizing and organizing.
Yes, ma'am. Just let me know when.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have a question with that, or was that the question?
That is the question.
Yes, ma'am. Count me in.
Okay.
You took my number?
Yes, I did.
Shoot me a text. Let me know.
Okay, thank you.
I got you, queen. Who's my number three? We had a brother right over here in the hoodie.
We're going to need some questions.
Hi, Dr. Umar.
Peace, king.
So I've recently heard you say that the powers that be, the government, whoever, they plan to occupy the Black Power movement. Recently, the NAACP has pledged $200 million to Black-owned businesses.
Okay.
Do you think that's the start of this?
Well, they've been occupied the Black movement. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover was hired to destabilize the Honorable Marcus Garvey's movement. So that's over 100 years ago. So they've been occupied. They ain't never left. I read an article maybe 15, 20 years ago that said that the FBI tripled its manpower in the black community, undercover agents. Half y'all probably undercover agents. You see what I'm saying? So they're already there. You know, as far as the NAACP goes, right, I know a lot of good people in the NAACP. I know a lot of good people in the Urban League, right? I know a lot of good people in the National Action Network, but those institutions were not founded to liberate black people, you see. And we got to recognize the difference. When I say the NAACP is no good, I'm not talking about the good people in it. I'm talking about the system itself was created to control black people's progress. They finance you to control how far you go. They don't finance you to liberate you. You will never use the white man's money for your own benefit. You will always pay a price for doing that. But we got to stay focused on what we got to do. We can't get so caught up in what the white man is doing that we don't act. Because some of us get so bogged down in the information and the negativity of the white power structure's agenda that we throw our hands up and say, there's nothing we could do against this system. We can't go there. You know, if you're getting to the point where the information is killing your motivation, then put the damn books down. Because at the end of the day, we got to struggle and we got to organize. And we can't use the information as an obstacle to organization. Because I get a lot of brothers and sisters who will say, well, Doc, I want to participate in the freedom struggle, but I can't do it yet until I'm done reading these 10 books I just bought. Well, it might take you 10 years to finish them damn books. We ain't got time for you to finish the books. Information informs activism, and activism informs the information. We got too many young brothers, the YouTubian struggle streamer generation in particular, the fake woke society. All they want to do is know stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do anything.
No solution.
I could care less about how much you know if you're not going to do. I always say all the time, I could probably get more done with a Bible-toting, politically unconscious Negro who go to church and worship a white Jesus. I might could work with him more than a Negro who read a library worth of books. Because once we done read a library worth of books, we think we so intelligent that can't nobody tell us nothing. We're too good to participate in the freedom struggle, and we just want to give the orders and not take any. You feel me? Black men, we must maintain humility. The reason why we have so many black men who suffer from a narcissistic personality disorder is because black men are so oppressed in this society that when we find something we could be proud of, we take it to our head and we take it to the sky. Yeah. We have to learn how to keep both feet on the ground. That's why so many of our athletes can be so narcissistic. It's because we're so used to not being successful, so used to not having power that when we get a little bit of it, it goes to our head and can't nobody tell us anything. And then we take that into our relationships with our women, and then black women are getting tired of us because they say, okay, you're a good husband and you're a good provider, you're a good father, but why do you want me to be a cheerleader and not your partner? Right, ladies? You dating a man who wants you to be a cheerleader, not a partner, a servant, but not a companion. And so black men, we got to keep humble. Humility is a very big thing we got to work on, and we all got to work on it. I work on it as much as I can. I'm a humble guy anyway by nature, but we still got to work on that because that lack of humility is why we as men are not coming together the way that we should. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Black power. Who my number 4? The queen with the black shirt with the white rim. And then we're going to come down here for the final one.
Blessings to you, Dr. Umar. My
Peace,
name
Queen.
is Olika. I'm from Akron, Ohio. I've been in Vegas for about a month now for some training. But I contacted you before and asked you, why don't our leaders like yourself get together to where we can start paying into our own government and controlling ourselves? So it's like we need them for so much. I don't feel we need them. I feel like you stating if we're spending $30 billion in hair products and $50 billion in this, you know, why can't, if every black person would get together and if we just put in maybe $5 a month and that money is properly invested, then we would have all the schools, the hospitals, the grocery stores that we need. So that's my question to you. Well, how do you think about that?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Empress, but I would say start with the micro before we go to the macro. And what I mean by that is, why don't we start that in Las Vegas? You follow what I'm saying? Because before we can have a superstructure, we have to have a simple structure. Yep. So we should start it in Las Vegas, that African susu where everybody put 5 or 20. And I think it should be a little higher than that because you got to find out who's serious and who not. And the best way to find out how serious black people is to see if they put their money where their mouth is. Because you get a lot of black people who will show up. How many of you have been to meetings where a certain man or woman dominated the whole meeting with their ego and opinion, and then when it came time to actually donate to the cause, they didn't give a single penny, and they dominated the whole meeting? We have to start leading with the money because it shows how serious people are. If you got to pay $100 to come sit in here, you're not going to let nobody waste your time. You're not going to let nobody derail this into a contest of egos. We got to start leading with the money. Because if everybody in this room said, listen, we're going to put up $100 a month, in 12 months, we got enough to put down a down payment on an institution, on a building. And the reason we got to have institutions, brothers and sisters, not just programs, is because programs die with program leaders. Institutions will live after the founder has died on because you have a brick and mortar structure that is still there. And if the proper systems were set up, it will outlive the people who founded it. We need institutions so we can create systems. And when you have institutions and systems, now you have communities. We have to do this. Self-reparations, Queen. Internal reparations. We don't talk enough about internal reparations. I agree the white man owns us. I'm a scholar on the enslavement of African people. I'm a priest of the ancestors. So nobody knows more than me what they did to us spiritually, psychologically, and politically. But why do we talk so much about what the white man owes the black man, and we don't talk enough about what the black man owns himself? In other words, Las Vegas, what I'm saying is this. There's no amount of money the white man can give you that'll stop black women from finding themselves unattractive when they look in the mirror. There's no amount of money that's going to stop black boys from killing each other. There's no amount of money that's going to make black men and black women love and respect each other. Do you realize 75% of what needs to be fixed in our community cannot be fixed with money? Right. It got to be fixed with spirit. It got to be fixed with dedication. It got to be fixed with purpose. And we don't need to be waiting for no reparations to start fixing ourselves. And we got enough money to get started. We're the 10th richest economic power in the world. American African community is the 10th richest economic power in the world. Don't tell me we got to wait on a check for the government. I'm not waiting on a check for the government. We need to do it here, and we need to do it now. Black power.
Black power.
My last one with my brother in the front.
The 5 at.
Brother Muhammad. Before he asks his questions, give a round of applause to our brothers for the Nation of Islam for doing security tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Much respect to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah. Dwayne X.
As I travel around the country and as I involve myself politically and really registering people to vote all over the country, I'm hearing a lot of fear of the future because of due to Project 2025. I think instead of the fear, we should be focused on a program like yours where we're building institutions. Do you have a mechanism where we could have an automatic draft going directly to the school?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
And if you text me, I'll see that information.
Excellent.
Absolutely for the school.
Okay.
But taking it beyond the school, brothers and sisters, to my elder's point, once FDMG has been approved for occupation, we can use it, right? We're going to be holding conferences twice a month. So you need to find out what's the cheapest round-trip flight to Philadelphia, because since we own the school, nobody can put us out, nobody can tell us when to shut the lights off. So it's a school by day, but it's the Black Power Organizing Center by night. Right. We will have Black Women's Conference. We will have Black Men's Conference, Ex-Offenders Conference, Black Business Conference, Black Media Conference. You understand? Black Youth Conference, Black Gang Conference. Whatever we need, we're going to have at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. So please do your research into flying into Philadelphia, because some of you are going to want to be there all the time. Some of you are probably going to move over there because you're going to want to be so much of a part of what we're going to be doing that you might relocate. And if you do decide to move to Wilmington, Delaware, make sure you check out a website called wilmingtonlandbank.gov. wilmingtonlandbank.gov. The city of Wilmington, Delaware has a program where you can buy properties for pennies and dollars if you can prove you can fix it up in time. And there's already brothers and sisters moving into Wilmington, Delaware in anticipation of the school. By the way, Wilmington, Delaware is predominantly black. 60,000 people are there, okay? And I believe that we can actually turn that city into a Black Wall Street because there's enough of us there. There's enough abandoned property. So even though I'm leading with FDMG, I'm not ending with FDMG. FDMG is just the beginning, brothers and sisters. We can turn that city into a Black Wall Street. So please check us out. Please come visit us. When you come to the grand opening, you will see. And the day before the grand opening, Dr. Umar is going to lead a tour through the Black history of Philadelphia, the Black history of Wilmington, Delaware, and we might go down for the Black history of Baltimore and the Black history of Washington, D.C. So it's going to be a whole week-long celebration with the grand opening, and I want all y'all to be there because we've gotten a lot of checks from Nevada throughout this 10 years that we've been on this journey. So for all of y'all who've donated, Cash App, PayPal, check, money order, thank you, because we couldn't have done it without you. Black Power.
One follow-up, please. One follow-up. My wife is Gwendolyn K. Walker. We were recently married. She owns the Walker African American Museum and Research Center.
Where at, Baba?
It's on in the historic
Las
west
Vegas.
side, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And she put together by hand a gift basket for you to take back with you.
Yes.
And
thank you.
And
I saw it too, Bob. It's in the back. I ain't leaving without it.
Yes.
Give her my blessings.
And she wanted me to know to let you know that she loves you. She prays for you. She encourages you to continue to fight, and all those who are supporting you. And I'm grateful that I'm here to meet you for the first time. I'm so happy that you're young. The youth are taking over. Our elders, it causes us to really rest in our mind and in our spirit, knowing that the young people are getting ready to turn the tide.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but guess what, Baba?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me say this as a last word, and I'll meet you guys in the lobby to take photos. Let me say this as a last word. You can't retire yet because one of the conferences we're going to have at FDMG is the Elders Conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want to put councils of elders back into the Black community.
Yes.
So we can have law and order, equality and justice.
Yes.
If I'm not taking care of my child's mother shouldn't have to go to the white man court. She should be able to go to the Council of Elders.
Okay.
And the Council of Elders will call Dr. Umar in and say, why aren't you taking care of your child?
Yes.
If this brother loaned that sister some money and she didn't pay him back, he shouldn't have to go to white man law. He should be able to come to the Council of Elders in Las Vegas, and y'all bring the sister in and resolve that dispute.
That's it.
If we had our elders in place as the governance of our community, there would be a lot less trauma and a lot less drama. Y'all agree with that, brothers and sisters?
Thank you.
We got to bring the Council of Elders back.
You got it.
Yes, indeed.
You got it.
Website for, Wilmington. I had ADHD. An ancestral diversion for higher development.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Wilmington, WILMINGTON. WilmingtonLandBank.gov. Do not mention my name when you call them. He's trying to take over the city. I told y'all don't let him in.
Right.
Black Power, LA, Las Vegas, I love y'all. I'm going to see y'all out in the lobby for the photos. I think we got some vendors out there. Support them.
Hold on, y'all.
And if you want to get a copy of my book, don't leave yet. We got some closing comments. You can use Apple Pay, Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal. Apple Pay, Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal. You can also use a credit card or cash, food stamps, pennies, quarters, whatever you got. Black Power.
Black Power. Hey, y'all, hold on, y'all. This man do this for a living. He goes city to city. I need y'all to make some noise. Represent for Las Vegas. Give it up for Dr. Umar Johnson. Yeah.